Lost by Tszyu last night. Just quit on the stool against Sebastian Fundora. This was a fight that was pretty rough for Tszyu in the first round, got knocked down right away, and then started to come back, started to make this a very interesting fight. Come round 5 to 6, it was a very close fight. All right, going anymore, we could have saw a stoppage in favor of Tszyu. He was starting to land some good shots. His game plan was starting to look much better. And unfortunately, he quit on the stool. At the end of round 6, he was kind of lost on his feet, didn't know where he was, and I fully respect Tszyu doing what he had to do. He prioritized his health. I respect anybody who does that. With that said, I have to say the truth and no disrespect, but somebody who wants to be champ is not going to quit on the stool like that. Somebody who wants to be there, somebody who wants to get that win is not going to quit on the stool like that. They're going to go out on their shield. That's just a boxing mentality. That's what it takes to be a champion. Once again, not disrespecting Tszyu for prioritizing his health. If I was in a similar situation, I didn't know where I was, my head was pounding, I feel like I was going to puke, whatever the case may be, I'll do the same thing. And that's why I won't be a champion. I don't have that mindset. And it just sucks because with Tszyu, who was once a champion, had that unfortunate cut, which if that didn't happen, I think Tszyu would have beat Fundora and his career would be so much better. You see, it wasn't that cut that ruined Tszyu's career. It was the loss that he had after, that brutal knockout loss that he had after. That's what changed his career. He just seems so much more gun-shy, and he just doesn't have that in him. It's going to get him even more hurt, put him in more danger going forward. He doesn't have that killer attitude. You got to have that killer attitude if you can compete with the top guys like Fundora. Strong, powerful guys like Fundora, who had a very high volume Fundora had. Listen, he's a freak of nature. Fighting at 154 pounds, absolute freak of nature. The fact that he could land uppercuts the way he does, fight in the inside the way he does, have that incredible volume the way he does. It's incredible. He's a freak of nature, and he really is the best at 154. You know, all credit to Fundora. No doubt about it, Fundora is the real deal at 154. I just think Tszyu had his chance to win that fight, but it just wasn't there. That volume on Fundora was too much for Tszyu. That volume for Fundora would be too much for anybody at 154. It's incredible that volume he has anywhere in the ring. Has opponents on the ropes, the volume's still there. And I apologize for the shadow too. I'm not even in my studio. Has his opponent in the middle of the ring in the phone booth, his volume's still there. But there was times where Tszyu had some good shots, made Fundora's nose bleed, landed some good shots, and it was starting to wear down Fundora, which was really shocking. I thought, Tszyu would try to go out on a shield, but he didn't. So what's next for Tszyu? All honestly, I think he should retire. He does not have that in him anymore. Who's he going to fight next? Keith Thurman? I mean, Keith Thurman, even though he was out for a while, even though he had a loss in his career with Manny Pacquiao, his career didn't go down. Keith Thurman didn't seem gun-shy, right? Keith Thurman, we saw in his last fight, and I'm sorry for the shadow, we saw with Keith Thurman in his last fight against Brock Jarvis. He was there to win. He wants to be a champion again. That's the difference between him and Tszyu. Even though they both had similar, ways in their career, even though Tszyu was more active, Keith Thurman wasn't, but they still had some really hard times in their career. Keith Thurman still wants to be champion. Keith Thurman still has that mindset where he wants to win. Tszyu, you just don't see it in him. So what's next for Tszyu? I highly recommend he retires. What's next for Sebastian Fundora? He could beat anybody at 154. Honestly, he could beat Xander Zayas. He could beat anybody at 154. I truly mean that. But honestly, I really don't know how much longer Fundora is going to stay at 154. I like to see him bump up to 160 because 160 not that good of a division, but imagine him versus Janibek. That'd be very interesting. I don't want to call Fundora a weight bully because he seems very comfortable at that division, and he is beatable. We saw him get beat before, and if you can make the weight, you can make the weight. All right, it's much harder for him to make the weight at 6'4", 154 pounds. It's hard for him, and he still has a skill. He still has a lot of volume. Whether he was at 154 or 160, I still think he'd be doing good, but he's a tough, smart, skilled fighter. So, hey, props to Fundora, absolutely. And Tszyu, it sucks. The rise and fall of him is sad to see. He just doesn't have it in him. I don't want to really see him back because I feel like he's going to get hurt even more. Make sure to leave a like. Comment down below. What did you guys think of the fight? What should be next for Tszyu? And what should be next for Sebastian Fundora? I'm out, guys. Peace.